So the Medical Cures Act was passed by the House yesterday, and this bill really is just quintessential Washington politics. So Huffington Post breaks it down for us about the good things that are in the bill, but then naturally the horrific things that went hand in hand with it. So they say, on Wednesday, the House overwhelmingly approved the 21st Century Cures Act, a bill that would commit billions of dollars to medical research while sending $1 billion to states to help combat heroin and painkiller addiction and recovery. But there's a complication. Instead of cracking down on the pharmaceutical companies that fueled the boom in opioid abuse, lawmakers are rewarding the industry. No healthcare-related bill of this size could move through Congress without the support of Big Pharma. The authors of the 21st Century Cures Act earn the industry's support by including regulatory rollbacks that drug makers have long sought and creating cheaper and quicker paths for drug approval by reducing safeguards. It's as if the fire department had to pay off the arsonist to get permission to put out a fire. Lawmakers have been left with a Hobson's choice. The bill would make billions of dollars available for medical research. It would fund lofty goals such as precision medicine, a White House initiative to map the human brain, and Vice President Joe Biden's cancer moonshot. It would save lives. But it would also undermine regulations that patient advocacy groups say are essential for making sure medical and drug research is conducted ethically and safely, meaning it could cost lives too. It's so gross. It's so gross, man. Think about it. So they decide, well, let's do some good things. All right, we're going to fund, an attempt to cure different diseases, including cancer, and we're going to finally combat the opioid crisis. And instead of just doing the right thing, naturally, they have to put just countless examples of the wrong thing in the bill. So in order to get the blessing of the pharmaceutical industry, who are one of a bunch of industries that really run the government, they're like, okay, what do you guys want? Tell us what you want, we'll put it in the bill. Like, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to do massive regulatory rollbacks because we view them as too costly and we view them as getting in the way of our profits. So a lot of the safeguards that are set up for regulations to make sure that the drugs are safe and effective, they're now gone. Now, so far, this is just passed by the House. But you can see this is a perfect encapsulation of the way Washington works. That even when they do something where you go, okay, I guess that's good, there's massive downsides to it. I mean, you could even see this in Obamacare, because Obamacare was a giant giveaway to the health insurance industry, because it mandated that people buy private insurance. So you're giving them a captive market. So you're just handing over money to the insurance companies. Now, the upside is many more people are insured. And then there were other provisions in there that were unquestionably good, like, okay, kids get to stay on their parents' rolls until they're 26 and pre-existing conditions can't be rejected. So even when they do things that are good, they're like, okay, we have to tack on something that's just a giant blowjob to corporate America, and that's exactly what this is. Now, to give you an indication of just how bad the rollbacks are and the deregulation is of the pharmaceutical industry, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are out there going, no, this isn't even a hard choice. Vote against it. No way. No way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way, no way. You want to do the good things? Let's do the good things. Okay, let's fund cancer research. Let's give money to the states to combat the opioid crisis. Let's do it. We're all for it. But the things you attach to it are going to cost lives. It's going to fucking kill people. So, look, if they're against it, they probably know the details of the specific regulations that are rolled back better than I do and better than any of the articles I read explain them. So I think that's a good sign as to just how much of a giveaway this is to the pharmaceutical industry. And guys, this comes back to the main point, the most important point when discussing politics in the United States of America, which is there's one giant virus that is the core problem of everything: money in the system. The only reason the pharmaceutical industry has such control over the government and you need their blessing to pass anything is because we allow that to be the case. From the late 1970s and onward, in subsequent Supreme Court decisions, they decided, okay, well, money equals free speech, and we could basically have unlimited money in politics. And that made it so that, billionaires and corporations said, oh, great, so I'll just buy the government and get the politicians to be our bitches who do whatever we want for us. And that's what happened. I always bring up this fact because it's so telling. You can vote for a brand new Congress, and then like 2 months later you do a poll. Hey, do you like Congress? It gets like a 9% approval rating. You just picked them like 1 month, 2 months ago. What do you mean 9%? Because everybody knows we're always voting for the lesser of two evils because both parties are just totally bought and owned by corporate America. Big money runs the entire scene. In fact, they've done studies on this. They found that the United States is basically officially an oligarchy because what the people want doesn't become law. The only area where there's a correlation between opinion and what we end up getting in law is for elites, is for corporations, is for rich people. So the donor class runs everything. So we know the fix for this. We know the fix. The fix is you get the money out of the system, you mandate clean elections by law, and you punish strictly, rigidly, fervently, severely people who violate that. So if you had clean elections, which is public financing of elections, and you ban private money, well, then who are the politicians going to represent? They're going to represent you and me because it would be us paying them at that point. Right now, when we elect them, but they're getting money from ExxonMobil, and they're getting money from Goldman Sachs, and they're getting money from all these different corporations and all these different billionaires with their own special interests, who are they going to represent? They're going to represent those people because it's human nature. Do you care about a grandmother in Cleveland when you just got a check for $200,000 from some asshole billionaire? No, you're going to be like, whatever you want, sir. So that's where we're at. We know the solution to fix this. It's to get money out of the system. We should get a constitutional amendment to get money out of the system so that it can't be a law that could just be ignored or overrided or whatever the case is. Do a constitutional amendment to fix it, and this way it's fixed permanently. So that would require a constitutional convention. We should go through the states because Congress is too corrupt and they would never do it themselves. And maybe at the end they'd feel pressure when we're close to getting it and they go, okay, all right, we'll do something here. So that's the answer. Wolfpack is working on this. Move to Amend is working on this. These are different movements to try to get money out of the system. Represent.us tries to do it in a different way. I think they focus more on the states and they focus more on actual laws versus the Constitution, which is, of course, the supreme law of the land. So I'm in favor of any and all ways to get money out of the system because this is what happens when you have money in the system. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that the pharmaceutical industry, they're going to get their claws on any bill that has to do with the pharmaceutical industry. And they're going to steer the direction they want the politicians to go in. And even when the politicians do something that's somewhat good, in some ways, there's giant giveaways to the industry because they bought the government.